have close to about 20 slides, and I'm given 20 minutes. The good thing is Vijay went ahead of me. He has already used up about 10 of my slides, which means that I hope to complete my canned presentation in the next 20-25 minutes at best. My presentation is in two parts. One is to share with you the structural shifts that we are seeing in the IT industry from a business standpoint. That's extremely important to understand the kind of skills and talent that this industry needs in the months and years to come. I would probably say, having been in the industry for a little over 20 years, that I haven't seen the kind of transition in the technology industry that we see today. We have seen multiple chapters of technology make a huge impact on this industry and several other industries, whether it's manufacturing, financial services, retail, energy and utilities, so on and so forth. But the technology shifts that we see today are transformative, far-reaching, and fundamentally changes the business models of several industries out there in the marketplace. I think that's the beauty of the current technology shift. And that's precisely what I want to probably touch upon in the first part of my presentation. Then we'll jointly explore what we can do as individuals and teams in order to address this challenge and the opportunities it presents for the student community at large. One, the technology shifts are putting industries at a crossroads. Every single company out there across industries wants to know what is the next big technology that can put it out of business, or what is the next big technology that they can embrace in order to browbeat competition and stay ahead of the game. A lot of us use the Uber example, right, as to how they actually changed the marketplace. There are enough and more examples, even in the Indian context, as to how newer companies are giving a run for the money of established organizations. I have a few examples, I'll touch upon it. Second, somewhere during the introduction, I think it was Shiva or Anbu who said that the demand could potentially shift away from the IT industry to the manufacturing industries. I think you're not going to probably see those distinctions going forward, because manufacturing is going to use more technology than ever before. Financial services is going to use more technology than ever before. Retail is going to use more technology than ever before. It's almost to a point that technology has become pervasive across every single industry out there. And some of these traditional distinctions are going to blur out there in the marketplace. So when you look at digital as a technology opportunity, the lines between physical and digital, they are going to blur and they are going to converge. And third, data, information, insights, call it what you may. That's the new oil. Maybe let me backtrack, that's a new currency. Fortunately, oil has become a bad word today. But anybody who has access to different insights using data is going to win the marketplace. Now, these are going to fundamentally alter every single industry that's going to come to your campuses to hire. This impacts businesses, customers, partners, consumers, students, machines that are deployed in manufacturing and allied industries. Everything is going to change. Equally important is the pace of change. Not only is change going to be a reality, but the velocity of change, the pace of change, is something that all of us are going to grapple with. The same company will come to the campus and ask for something in January and change it in March. Student preferences are going to undergo changes, just like consumer preferences are going to undergo changes. Somewhere in the introduction, we were told that this is the 5th or the 6th edition of ICT. If someone standing here in the first edition asked, how many people in this audience carry a Nokia phone? Imagine how many hands would have gone up. And if I were to ask that question today, how many of you carry a Nokia phone today? Nobody? Exactly 5-6 years back, there are a couple of hands that go up. I actually love that phone. Fine. I'm finding it very difficult to keep pace with all the features that are made available in the new generation of phones. As Vijay said earlier, he has a 10-year-old child. I have a 5-year-old child. She is more adept with my Android mobile phone than I am. But imagine Nokia probably had upwards of 50% market share exactly 5 years back, or maybe in that time frame. Just imagine what has happened to Nokia as a company, and Nokia as a manufacturer of mobile handsets. Things have materially changed just in a matter of a few years. So the pace of innovation is so high that people tend to change what they currently have and embrace what's new. Just imagine, these are images that I picked up from the Samsung website. This is how the next generation phones are going to look. That any of you think that the next generation of phones will bend? You can have it in your back pocket and sit on the chair, and that the phones will take the shape of your body. I can put it inside my wallet and then carry it with me the way I probably carry the currency. It is interesting that in 2009, when Samsung launched the Galaxy series, they produced 2 models every year. The more recent year, Samsung produced 25 models, going by publicly available data. That's the pace of change that you're just seeing in one consumer, one product that each one of us use out there in the marketplace. Equally important is the explosion of data. Eric Schmidt said that 90% of all the data in the world has been created in the last 2 years. Earlier, much of the data is generated through people-to-people communication. Today, a significantly higher amount of data is transmitted machine-to-machine communication. Aircraft engines are talking to one another. Machines in industries are talking to one another and generating enormous amount of data. And whoever can probably mine meaningful insights from it are going to be the successes of the next generation. I'll give you one example. Some of you might have seen this deck that I've used earlier. People today talking about the smart toothbrush. There will be a chip inside a toothbrush. I told you I have a 5-year-old daughter. You give it to her. Fine. After she brushes her teeth in the morning, this particular chip starts reading the pressure on the teeth, the angularity, the reach, whether it's touched the different parts of the mouth, and it will give me a dental hygiene report card on my mobile phone 5 seconds after she has brushed her teeth. It's just the beginning of what technology can do to our lives. And this is running industries out of existence. You look at a car, people today are talking about driverless cars. Yeah? Now, insurance companies are completely worried as to what this will probably do to the insurance industry. If tomorrow you have driverless cars and these cars don't meet with an accident, what will the insurance companies do? Just look at the model of revenue generation for automotive companies. They have a huge revenue stream through replacement parts. If cars don't meet with accident, fine, the replacement is only on the basis of wear and tear. Fine, not on the basis of collision. So there's driving industries out of business, creating new industries out there in the marketplace. And this is applicable in every single industry. Some people may think, oh, this happens in automotive. This will probably not touch my industry. Touching every industry. The financial services industry is really worried about what happens if robotic wealth management or algorithmic trading comes into being. What will happen to stock exchanges? You just look at the patterns of trades and start executing trades. I have been a part of the investor relations team in the company, and every time I meet up with CEOs of large banks, about 5 years or 10 years back, they used to take great pride in saying, I've expanded my branch network and I've added 52 new branches this year. The same CEOs that I meet today are saying, I shut down X number of branches, and they're very happy about it. Fine, the banks of the future are just going to be your mobile phones. I would be very surprised if in the next many, many years, if any of us carry a credit card. It's all going to be cashless, mobile-enabled trading, right? I was at the NASSCOM Leadership Summit about a couple of weeks back, and one of the panels was on cashless payment. And one of the panelists made a very interesting observation. He said that he was recently in Indonesia, and that Indonesia has moved to a cashless trading country. No currency, you don't need to carry anything. Fine, everything is cashless. I was very surprised that a country like Indonesia could probably move to that level fairly quickly. People used Sweden as an example for many years, but today we are beginning to see many of the up-and-coming progressive countries getting there. Retail. Fine, tomorrow you can probably do a lot of stuff with retail. Fine, you can shop online, pick up the goods from a Reliance or a Paramudir Cholai. You're going to probably see multi-channel engagement in the retail space, largely driven by digital and related technologies. Media and entertainment. Tomorrow if there is an A.R. Rahman concert in London, you can watch it in Chennai on your mobile phone and pay 5 rupees for it. So, every single industry is getting impacted by this, which means that there is going to be a huge impact in everything that we probably do as individuals. How many of you have heard of Yokibu? Huge impact. Fine, you can network with the teachers, with other parents of the same class that your kids study in. And today, there are a little over 12 lakh parents and students on this network in the education space. Now, I'm sure that all of you know about Ola. This has revolutionized travel. I stay in an apartment complex where people used to fight for the second car parking space. Today, people are willing to give up their first car parking space. I don't need a car. If I can probably get a car at my disposal in less than about 5 minutes and I don't need to carry cash, I can pay through Ola Money. That's convenience at your mobile tips, right? At your fingertips. Digital is completely revolutionizing every single industry, and there are enough examples out there in the marketplace. I'm sure many of you have used Grofers, right? Many of you have used Healthify Me, so on and so forth. Every single industry, Airbnb is a fantastic example. I know in the Indian context we have Oyo, the equivalent of Airbnb. Suddenly one fine morning Airbnb had about 1.7 million rooms, and then it forced one of the big daddies in the hospitality sector, Marriott, to go and then acquire SPG, Starboard Preferred Group. So, every industry is getting impacted, which means all of us are going to get impacted. Our roles are going to get impacted. And let me probably come to the second part of it. What does it mean for each one of us? Probably finish in the next 5-10 minutes. One, the skills of today are clearly not the skills of tomorrow. In fact, the World Economic Report, which just got published about 15-20 days back in Davos, says 65% of the skills that would probably be needed when students graduate from institutions a few years from now would be very different from what they studied. By the time someone graduates, what he or she reads in college, if that is going to become obsolete, what is education for? I know every time I have this discussion with students and with educational institution chiefs, I get two very different answers. Fine, you go talk to any educationist or an academician, they would probably say, the degree program is to provide well-rounded individuals. We provide holistic education. You go and ask the student, why did you probably join this program? Does any student come and tell you to get holistic education? He wants a job at the end of the day, right? After a 3-year or a 4-year program, the disconnect starts there. Fine, not to say that this is not relevant or that is not relevant, but I think we need to find a middle ground. Fine, there is this huge battle between knowledge and skills that's happening out there in the marketplace. And I think we need to recognize that fact, that the skills of tomorrow are going to be very different from the skills of today. The role of industry in academia is unprecedented. Today you go back and look at the composition of an academic council, senate, or a syndicate of any university or educational institution, you'll probably find that the bulk of the people are academicians or government nominees. Less than 20%, less than 10%, less than 5%, depending on the university that you look at, they are from the industry. But such structural shifts happening in the industry, you really need a lot of people from the industry represented to help educational institutions navigate this shift. So clearly, industry will have to probably play a much bigger role in educational institutions for people to align with the skills and the needs of tomorrow than what it is today. A lot of stuff is becoming modular and interdisciplinary. Fine, you really need to crunch things to smaller bites, capsules that people can consume and be relevant. And all the traditional boundaries to say, hey, this is mechanical, this is electronics, all this is blurring. And you can come up with a mechatronics course thinking that mechanical plus electronics is embedded in it. You may probably find it morph into something else tomorrow. So interdisciplinary is becoming the name of the game. And this is leading to newer learning and hiring models. One, there are newer models in terms of social marketplace. There are train and hire models. There is a huge debate versus skills versus degrees. Let me give you a few examples of what I noticed just in the last 2, 3, 4 months in the media, including what I noticed just last week. Social marketplace. I'm sure that you know that LinkedIn today is probably slowly becoming the recruiting engine out there for industries, right? They are saying, let students directly register with me based on all the certifications that they have done, all the courses that they have completed on Udacity, on Coursera, and all the MOOC programs. I will have the repository of student capabilities on one single platform and monetize it. What happens to the role of the placement officer? Does it get completely disintermediated? Look at this particular platform. This is a platform created in the US called Piazza, where the top universities and the students are there in just one single platform. So tomorrow, if I probably need about 20 people in predictive analytics, I know how many people are currently pursuing courses in predictive analytics in the US across all universities, who is going to graduate at what point in time, what is the learning agility of that particular student, so on and so forth. And there is an online employment exchange, if you will, that I can go and then recruit and hire from. Look at the logos there. Look at the caption that they have. In case it's not very visible, they say that we have the top students of all the top universities in the US. Finished. It's a one-stop package for any of us. Look at the social marketplace with the example of LinkedIn that I just spoke about. LinkedIn rolls out new product to make campus placements more efficient. I don't need to touch upon this, fine, that this logo is plastered all over this hall. HCL Talent Care is a classic example of where people are going to be trained and then made available for hiring by corporates. Skills versus degrees. There's an announcement that Ernst & Young made exactly about a week back. Just Google, you probably find dozens of articles where they say, I don't care about degree programs. Based on our assessment, I don't probably see too much of a correlation between the capabilities of a graduate as well as others who probably have come into the system. I don't think degrees are necessary. I will go and then hire students who don't have a degree and provide them a path for higher skilling and higher education should there be a need. You know what's happening with NASSCOM and the National Skills Development Corporation? They are saying that we have created skill sector councils for multiple industries. We will create occupational standards, align these occupational standards with the international occupational standards so that a student can potentially complete parts of the degree program here and parts of the degree program elsewhere, get skilled. If you probably have 6 qualification skill sets, then the industry will decide whether to probably pick you up or not. So imagine tomorrow a person with a degree with 4 or 5 certification equivalent programs in security, information security, cyber security, network security, whatever it is. Why would the recruiter not probably choose an individual for a security role rather than go and then choose a vanilla engineer out there from the marketplace? On MOOCs and their impact, a lot of the online courses today are exceptionally good. You know that Stanford and MIT have put all their courseware for free on the net. And there is an announcement that caught my attention saying Flipkart going forward is only going to hire from Udacity. You complete your nano degree from Udacity, you are hired by Flipkart, no interviews. Look at the shifting landscape out there. All this is real. What does it mean to the placement officers? Do you think that your role will be Ubered? Any one of this could potentially come and then disrupt the role of a placement officer? Or do you want to see this to be an opportunity and bring about a renaissance in the role of a placement officer and be the catalyst for change out there in the marketplace? I strongly believe that the role of the placement officer is not going to be Uber. But then it will undergo some fundamental changes. You need to change. Fine. You need to align with every one of the elements that I probably spoke about. If there is a train and hire model, go embrace it. If there is a social marketplace, go embrace it. Fine. You're going to probably make your students a lot more employable with any of these programs. History has time again told us that when there is a change, you fight it, you resist it, you lose it. Unless you're going to be part of the change, you're not going to probably win this battle. Now, we have seen this. We have seen this in campuses every other year. I don't want to reinforce it. I've been visiting campuses for almost about 20 years today. Earlier, people used to say, I'll only recruit from circuit branches, computing, electronic, electrical, in the IT industry. Then they said, we are going to be discipline agnostic and we'll probably recruit across disciplines because what we are looking for is numerical ability, problem-solving ability, so on and so forth. Then they probably said, I will have to be the only company to probably get the first lot in the campus. Today, that's probably moved to a campus sharing model. So the more you resist, the more you'd probably be made to fall in line. So just look at each one of these opportunities very objectively and see what is best suited from a student standpoint. How is it that you can probably embrace it at a unit cost that is attractive to you and make students a lot more employable out there in the marketplace. And I actually see the placement officers play a very, very important 360-degree role as you guys probably provide the outside-in perspective to the educational institution. I visit many educational institutions in my role handling educational affairs at Cognizant. In fact, on Friday, I spent almost an entire day at RMK and RMD. I'm on the governing board of VIT University from an academic council standpoint. So we do work very closely with educational establishments. And I strongly believe that the placement officers have a wonderful opportunity in being the eyes and ears of the educational institution and providing that outside-in perspective. You need to probably be the platform that provides market research and competitive intelligence to the educational institution on a 24/7 basis. Every single structural shift that happens outside, you need to capture and answer that question, how does it change my life? What's in it for the institution that I am associated with? What is the next big wave? People talk about Internet of Things, cyber security, design thinking. Just capture this. This has to be part of the curriculum. And if you're not able to probably make this as part of the curriculum, make it as part of electives. I know many of you are from affiliated institutions. And someone earlier said that UGC and AICT give you a prescribed template. There is only so much latitude that's available for you to go and then make some tweaks with it. But then you have the opportunity to probably define what can be the value-added courses that you can offer to the student community. Which companies to bet on and which ones to probably, you need to track. Fine, I know companies that have lost their market share in just last 2 weeks by about 40 to 50%. You need to know which ones are in the ascendant and which ones are actually falling apart. And you need to bet on the right institutions because the future of institutions today depend on the company of companies that you keep. Newer models are to be embraced, not to be challenged. Fine? Not to be pushed around. And I think the role of a placement officer gets expanded, that you need to probably play the role of a chief marketing officer of the educational institution. You need to play the role of chief corporate affairs officers. Educational institutions need to probably be in every single chamber of commerce, trade and professional body in the country. Whether it's the Indo-Australian Chamber of Commerce, Indo-German Chamber of Commerce, CII, Indus Entrepreneurs, whatever, because you need to probably pick what's happening in every single industry, whether it's domestic, multinational, and every single thread will probably provide you opportunities to improve yourself. And third, one who following me is a Chief Human Resources Officer, and I'm sure that he would probably add more value to this particular bullet than I can ever attempt to. You need to probably have complete control over the talent supply chain within the organization, just to see what opportunities exist for the student community at large. With that, I'll just tell you, some of you who have seen me present this, probably a standing slide in most of my presentations. I believe when it comes to the future, there are three varieties of placement officers: those who make it happen, those who let it happen, and those who wonder what happened. For I'm sure that you want to probably be in the first band. Thanks for the opportunity.